Hi everyone. In this short talk, we'll describe a grain of sand contribution to the HCI and the Learning Sciences workshop by people at the HCI research group. In this strand of research that has recently started, we try to explore flexible CSCL scripting in the context of blended learning through the use of paper tangibles and mobile devices using generic augmented reality browser. But what is scripting in the context of CSCL? Basically, a script is a method for structuring collaborative learning which focuses on specific activities that the learners are expected to engage in order to learn collaboratively. Although there are different ways of defining such scripts, a common one is macro scripting, which tries to set up conditions for productive collaboration by specifying elements like phases, activities, groups, or resources to be used by learners. One very simple example of macro script could be a peer review scenario in which first, several groups of students generate a report on a certain topic, then the groups of students review each other's reports providing constructive feedback, and finally the groups generate an enhanced version of the report. Although there are plenty of ways of coordinating the activities of a CSCL script, they coarsely fall into two categories. Computer-mediated coordination, in which the structure is somehow imposed or automated through a computer, like for example a sequence of Moodle activities, and social coordination, for example if a teacher tells students orally to form certain groups and do some activity. But now let's look into how these concepts are applied to a concrete educational setting. In many educational institutions, courses take a blended learning format in which students perform collaborative activities in different spaces using a number of tools, including virtual learning environments like Moodle or other Web 2.0 tools like wikis or Google applications or even mobile devices. In this context, computer-mediated coordination is very useful, especially for building bridges to those activities that happen at a distance. However, most computer-based scripting approaches require the teachers to predefine in advance the concrete distribution of groups, activities, and resources of the script. For example, the teacher could set up a series of groups for peer review activities in his Moodle server, linking to several Google Docs for easy review work. What happens if one of the students does not come to class? What happens if the teacher wants to let students self-organize the group formation? Furthermore, scripting systems often have the HCI problem of creating seams in which the teacher has to go back and forth between socially coordinating the classroom and translating that coordination to the computer scaffolding being used. Thus, the main question we are exploring here is this: can we find a more flexible and seamless way of managing blended format CSCL scripts? And furthermore, we do not want to answer that question just in our laboratory. We want to explore a solution that can be used in authentic educational settings, that is compatible with existing legacy technology, and that can be used for non-technical teachers. So, what we propose is to use legacy elements that are already present in the classroom workflow, such as pen and paper, and use them to represent the scripting elements, like activities or groups, and other orchestration actions upon the computer support, which normally would imply breaking the social or physical flow of the class. And then we will use other technologies that are already in the classroom or are widely available, such as mobile devices and generic augmented reality browsers, to magically capture the physical and social coordination happening in the classroom and projecting it in runtime to the computer-based learning environment, for example Moodle and other Web 2.0 tools, so that such support can also be used in later distance activities. In order to explore this idea, we have developed a first functional prototype reusing our existing system called GLUEPS-AR, which was designed to deploy and manage in runtime pedagogical scripts for learning activities that cover both a variety of web tools and augmented physical spaces, for example using mobile devices. The usual GLUEPS-AR interface is web-based, so what we've done is that we have added a new user interface based on paper elements with visual markers which represent the script elements. Thus, teachers and students can socially manage the workflow of the classroom, form groups, decide which resources to use, etc. And GLUEPS-AR will ensure that those changes are reflected in the ICT's infrastructure that includes VLEs or Web 2.0 tools. But maybe the best way of understanding the proposal is by seeing the prototype in action. In this short video, you can see how in a face-to-face session, the teacher tells students to distribute themselves in groups across the classroom for small group work such as the peer review that we saw before. The teacher may not know who is going to be in each group or which students have not come to class in the session. Then, the teacher scans the paper cards and elements denoting the groups, the participants, etc., thus effectively forming the groups for the upcoming work. Although in this example the teacher centralizes this scanning of elements, such a task could be easily distributed among students themselves. Then, using another paper card, the teacher tells the system that he is satisfied with the current distribution and orders the setup of the ICT resources for the upcoming activity, for the groups that were just formed socially. In this case, we use a wiki-based VLE with links to other resources from across the web. This deployment process takes but a few seconds to complete. So now, for the rest of the face-to-face session, the ICT resources set up by the system will be available to students. These same resources can be used for distance work later on, and in fact they provide a kind of permanent trace of the work done during the session and the artifacts the students produced. This can be very useful, for instance, when doing assessment. Using this kind of system, we expect a more seamless teaching and learning experience due to the usage of a paper and physical elements to control the ICT infrastructure. It may empower teachers and students to enact CSCL scripts in a more flexible manner. It can reduce the orchestration load of such CSCL situations, which can be also shared with students. And it can also do all of that in a way that is compatible with existing ICT infrastructures and can be easily extended to new ones. However, this is just an early stage proposal, and we are still exploring many of the questions that it opens. For example, as CSCL researchers, we are still defining which might be the best syntax and semantics for the script orchestration actions with the system. We are very intrigued about the actual impact in teaching and learning practice that such a system could bring about, and we are still open to discuss which is the best methodology to address these questions. But we also find that there are many questions in the human-computer interaction side of things which puzzle us. Whether the interaction with the system will be actually more seamless than the traditional one, the details of the paper-based interaction itself and how to balance the paper and mobile device elements of the interface, how to maintain the number of interface elements under control and share the orchestration burden with students, and which are the best methods to evolve and develop such an interface. We hope to discuss all these issues and more during the workshop. For further information, please refer to the actual contribution to the workshop, or ask Yanis or Luis Pablo. We will be around the CSCL conference. Thanks for your attention, and until next time.